morning. Happy Thursday. The Fairgrounds is back. We're back. It's Thursday. Great racing today. This is I would say one of the bigger cards I've seen all meet. Ton of horses in these races. Although I continue to kind of saw some scratches come in even late. So obviously post time 30 minutes here. And I got a few plays today, so we'll see. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay, we're good. And I think we're getting rain tonight and tomorrow, so expect probably off the turf tomorrow. But those are always fun days. We can find some angles there. But all right, let's jump in. So the 1 and 5 scratched here, and they were my second and third pick. I have Bayou Birdie on top, and so I'm going to scratch into what would be a single and a daily double play here to start. You know, it's a good race. I think the 3 is probably backing up, is going to show speed. Bayou Birdie had a little bit of a troubled trip right out. Gets a couple scratches inside. Should sit a good trip. We'll speed this up a little bit. You'll see the 8 come on. I think the 2 doesn't want the turf, and so that's my concern. I think 8 sits the trip. Looks to be the goods here. Ben Curtis rides for Joe Sharp off the trainer change. Has beaten tougher. You know, I had Evangeline beat a 66 and was facing tougher, and then had a troubled trip here. It just wasn't the greatest trip if you watch that race. And I think it sit off the pace. And when we look at the 2 horse, who's going to take a lot of money, the GSR drops quite a bit. And the turf number is about 11 points lower on her genetic strength rating. It's a surface and distance rating, you know, comes on. But I think the 8's the goods here to kick off. So, and then I think from a daily double play, I think Ain't No Disco is also a single. And this is just not the best race, I would say, for a claiming 15. And, you know, a Prince Day going to be 5-2. The 7 going to go off as the heavy favorite. I think you can play the daily double from the 8 into the 7. I like that. I also think a 7-4 Cold Exacta here is a play as well. The first into the second pick into Sandcast. You know, maybe the 3 or 1, you could, you know, play an alternative try with them in second and the 4 and third or something. But I think the 7's a single as well on the daily double. Has burned some money, but it's dropping and off the trainer switch to Tom Amos for Maggie Moss. And so you get Jose, right? He's just riding outstanding, always has. You know, and face tougher, and you look at that duo, Jose and Amos, 36% gets a nice outside stocking post, and I think it's the goods versus this group. And again, dropping in SOR, you know, so I don't think we'll be on the lead. I think we'll be right there, you know, popular in the claim, but I think looks tough here, going 2 turns. So, all right, that, and then in race 3, I like an exacta, the 5 with the 8. And the top pick and the second pick, Lady Dixie, will run the race sim kind of quick. But, you know, I think the 6 going to get caught in between. Maybe may not just have the best trip here. You look at, it's a 12-5 claimer, so it's not a great group. And I cut a lot of them, so it was able to narrow. But I don't think the 5 has to win. I think the 8, Lady Dixie, has a big shot, you know, dropping in strength of race. We talked a lot about that off a short layoff. Sophie rides. I think it's a player here. And then you look at Jailhouse Region dropping in class as well, or dropping in strength of race from that 20,000 into 12.5. It actually wins on there on the race sim, has some experience at Fairgrounds. So don't go crazy. It's a, you know, bottom level here, but I do like both of them, and maybe exacta. You might get 8-10-1. So, all right. And then in race 5, would be another single. So for pick 5s, mine would be super cheap. 3 singles I would play. Tempting Eve. I think this horse runs them off their feet. I know that Paco and Aurora Sky adds blinkers and he's going to be aggressive, but I think the 6 just runs them off their feet here. They're going 5.5. You have the pace square. You know, the 8 probably show a little bit more speed, but this 6 horse gets such an easy lead sprinting 5.5 furlongs. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to go with her. And ultimately holds on pretty easily on the race sim. You see they're closing a little bit, but ultimately wins by 2 to 3 lengths. You know, and the thing here, you go back to, look, this horse ran only at Fairgrounds and then went to Kentucky. But last year, at end of the meet, ran here in 54s, was the favorite both time. And this is a 50. And she's still trying to break her maiden for Hartman. Hartman having a solid meet right now, 6 of 14. I think with Pedrosa, you're just going to be aggressive and just try to run them off their feet. Is hit the board in 8 of 10. I mean, that's the concern. But I think has an easy lead here. They're going to try to play catch me if you can. Probably going to take money. But, 3 singles in the early sequence and, going to play cheap ticket. Race 6, the 7 was also a single for me, and but scratched out just recently. And I would be using a daily double into the 4, 5, and 8 and Dutch it because the 8's going to be such a big price. I usually don't play 3 horses, just 2, but I would in this scenario. I think you could play there, see what type of odds you're getting coming from that 6 horse. But I like the 6 into here. I originally liked the 6 straight into the 7, but with the 7 scratching, I thought this was a little bit tough. And then the opinions were mainly early in there. Last one, race 8. I think Showtime is also a single. We'll watch the race in. There's a lot of cheap speed. I think the 3 is going to be a vulnerable favorite. The 5 might go off as the favorite, but the 3 is the morning line favorite. I think the 3 is going to end up dueling with this 2's cheap speed. And Jose riding Showtime is going to shit a dream trip here and just be able to sit off. The 2 is going to for sure back up, but the 2's fast, cheap speed. You see they start closing, and the 3 starts to back up. I think the 5 sits a dream trip. Look at the Island Cruiser there and the Exacta as well, maybe, I would say. But I like the 5, 8, and Exacta there. Maybe you Dutch it, but I think the 5 also could be a single. And I think the 3 is a vulnerable favorite. That's all I got. It's a tough card. I mean, there's some big races. I skipped a few. You'll have to, didn't have a strong opinion. And as we close race 4, I think the 6 is also vulnerable. You can see the morning line here. This race is wide open. This is a great state bred allowance race. But I think the 6 is no lock here. I mean, it's 7-2 on the morning line off a 6-5 morning line. You'll see on the race sim, I mean, the horse is right there. The 5 comes, but I don't think you can leave out these other horses for me. This was one of the tougher races, but I think the 6 is beatable. All right. Good luck. Press your opinion. We'll be back tomorrow, probably off the turf would be my guess. And hope you all have a great afternoon and Happy New Year. And we will chat soon.